This is the Momentum Podcast.
As entrepreneurs, we want to be able to make the biggest impact possible on the world. And if you've ever wondered how to balance investing in yourself and taking tangible steps to achieve your goals, this episode of the Momentum Podcast is exactly what you need to hear. This episode was taken from a live online coaching event where Alex was answering this very question. How do you balance investing in yourself and achieving your goals? Alex talks about the power of intention and how you set and achieve your goals. He talks about the two fundamental questions that we all ask ourselves as entrepreneurs. And he talks about the simple 5-step process that we use to help you achieve what you want in your life, your business, and your relationships. I hope you enjoy.
I'm Alex Sharfin, and this is the Momentum Podcast, made for empire builders, game changers, trailblazers, shot takers, record breakers, world makers, and creators of all kinds. Those among us who can't turn it off and don't know why anyone would want to. We challenge complacency, destroy apathy, and we are obsessed with creating momentum so we can roll over bureaucracy and make our greatest contribution. Sure, we pay attention to their rules, but only so that we can bend them, break them, then rewrite them around our own will. We don't accept our destiny, we define it. We don't understand defeat because you only lose if you stop, and we don't know how. While the rest of the world strives for average and clings desperately to the status quo, we are the minority, the few, who are willing to hallucinate there could be a better future. And instead of just daydreaming of what could be, we endure the vulnerability and exposure it takes to make it real. We are the evolutionary hunters, clearly the most important people in the world, because entrepreneurs are the only source of consistent, positive human evolution, and we always will be.
Our next question comes from Hermelindo. He says, Alex, you're a genius. How much should we focus on development versus action?
That's a really good question, Hermelindo. The way I look at it is they're really one and the same. You know, so good to see you. I'm glad you turned your camera on. So the question you're asking is like, how much do you focus on developing, and then how much you focus on actually executing?
Yes.
Okay. It's an interesting question because here's where I think that like the challenge comes from on the difference between executing and like preparation or working or doing the work is that a lot of systems out there are exclusively one or the other. It's like there's a lot of execution systems, or there's a lot of deep brainstorming and personal work systems, but there's not a lot of systems that say, here's how you do the deep work and how you carry it out into day-to-day action. And Hermelindo, my life, like my whole life, that frustrated me like crazy because I love people like Wayne Dyer. You know, Wayne Dyer has some of the most incredible books on intention and on intentionality and spirituality and connecting to source and being who you are. There's not a single tactic in any of those books. So they would drive me crazy. And I would read them and say, like, I love all of this. What do I do next? And I think that, you know, I started reading personal development as a kid. I was like 8 or 9 years old when I got my first box of personal development books from this guy in a garage sale. He like gave them to me. It was $100 box and he gave them to me for free. And I started listening to that stuff. And the constant frustration is, how do I take these outcomes and make them a practice? And here's my answer to your question is like, you should use a system that does both. And so when you look at how we work with entrepreneurs, we have a system where you do very deep, very investigative personal work where you understand where you are without a lot of questions. Like it will reveal to you where you are right now. But then instead of leaving you right there, like so many programs and seminars and masterminds do today, it takes you from figuring out where you want to be to then a very clear tactical application system. And part of the reason it works is because deep work with tactical execution is really the only way we move forward. And in my life, I've done one without the other. I've done deep work and then not really processed or done anything with it. And I didn't see any changes in my life. I've also tried to execute like crazy without really understanding why. And it's hard to make things move forward. So for me, and especially the people who have the same sensitivities I do, and you and I have talked personally, so I know there's there's a lot of crossover between the two of us. The only way that I know of it working is when you know, deep work, let's get real about what it does. Deep work opens wounds. Deep work like exposes things. Deep work creates massive vulnerability. And so when I ask somebody to do the deep work, there's no way I'm going to leave them sitting in that space. It's like, let's take the wounds, let's take the vulnerability, let's take what you came up with, and now let's move it forward and make massive progress in your life.
Okay.
That deep work shouldn't be a daily occurrence. Okay. Execution should be a daily occurrence. Deep work, if you're doing the deep, like seeking, soul searching every day, man, that can get confusing and can be hard to execute. And so what we do in our system is we have periods where you go very deep. Like every 90 days, I kind of rip my life apart. I know that sounds crazy, but I really do. I say, like, is everything that I have right now what I want? Is there anything I need to change? Where's pressure and noise coming from? What's bothering me? What's like all the exercises in our course? And then I get clear on what I want, and then I execute for 90 days. I don't go back and say, hey, I want to do this again. I'm like, I want to clean it up for 90 days, get as much progress as I can. And then when I come back and do the deep work, it's a new conversation. It's a new, it's a new way of looking at it. And in the middle, I'm also getting therapy and I'm using our momentum planner and I'm doing what I need to do, but I'm not doing that seeking exploration over and over again. It makes it just too confusing. From a high level, for everybody listening, this is how we help entrepreneurs go from not creating success to creating massive success in their lives. It's a 5-step process. First, we analyze. Most people don't analyze where they are, get clear on where they are, really understand what's going on. For most goal setting programs, it starts with, where do you want to go? Mm-hmm. Right? Most goal, and especially if you see a goal setting speaker, like when I go to an event and the guy gets on stage who's like, we're going to do big things. We're going to set some goals. I'm always like, oh man, take the microphone away. He's not doing anybody any favors because we're not analyzing. We're not really looking at where we are right now. We're just going to start setting these crazy big goals. That doesn't do anything for anybody. It just sets up bad expectations. And so our 5-step process is analyze. So first look at everything that's going on and reveal to yourself what's really happening. Then prioritize what you come up with that you potentially could do. And then here's the big one: commit to an execution period. Like actually commit to, I'm going to do this for 90 days, or I'm going to do this for 30 days. Part of the reason that we get so thrown off is we commit to something, we don't do it for long enough. We come back and create this self-fulfilling prophecy that it didn't work. So commit to it, then execute. So record all the data during the execution period. See how fast you can go. Don't change the direction, and then come back and renew the plan. Start back over at prioritize. Here's the challenge that so many entrepreneurs are living with. As entrepreneurs, we want to get to the end of our life and have a huge outcome, like make a massive creation, make something happen, like make a difference in the world. Is that fair?
Yes.
And then every day we're asking the question, how do you get there?
Yes.
Right? And so here's what happens. Like if you're not bipolar, here's what I want you to do. Focus on the future. And then today, with no bridge in between, you will become bipolar. It will start to drive you crazy. And that's what happens to so many of our clients. It's like, I know what I want to create, but today I don't know how to get there. When we create that bridge in between the two of creating a strategic plan and getting clear on what you're doing, we eliminate that ambiguity. And here's what's so important about that, Armelindo. When we're unclear as to where we're going as entrepreneurs, every single day, most of the questions in our head is, what am I doing? Where am I going? Why am I doing this? What is that fair? We can lower the pressure and noise in our lives like that by creating a strategic plan. Here's the issue. The issue with creating a strategic plan is that there's a reason why most entrepreneurs don't do this. Like every one of us should have a strategic plan. If you don't have a strategic plan for your life, you're literally making it up as you go along. So what you're saying is, I want my future to be directed by what happens every day, not by me intentionally making something happen every day. But the challenge with strategic planning is when we admit we need a plan, we also admit we don't know where we're going. And so as a result, so many entrepreneurs will never commit to planning. They would rather just kind of do things in the moment and have a plan in their heads, or like think that they have clear outcomes. But when we can take it from plan in the heads, think you have clear outcomes, we kind of get it, to now it's in black and white and there's a system and a structure to it, that's where life really changes.
I hope you enjoyed that episode of the Momentum Podcast. If you're ready to take the next step and step into your role as a transformational leader, the one you've always known you should be, we're ready to help you. Go to billionairecode.com right now and let us show you how you can start to build a real foundation for your business. That's billionairecode.com, and you can set up a call with one of our coaches and start building the systems, processes, and routines that you need to make your greatest contribution. That's billionairecode.com. We'll see you there.